Alrighty, so we're gonna start a new series. So I got this 5-ton, pulled it into the garage finally. So I actually bought this not running. The fuel system just needed an overhaul. So honestly got it up and running in less than 24 hours with the help of a buddy. I swapped out all the tires for these newish MTVs that are on a lot of the newer 5-tons. So they're a little bit smaller than the R16s that everybody gets on these, but I wanted something that was a little bit more reliable for highway stuff. But replacing all these tires took the better part of a day, a work day, probably more than a work day, but yeah. So first thing, let's just remove this air intake, just a few bolts. Well, like everything on this build, I'm sure that took way longer than I was hoping. But yeah, definitely need to take out the air box. And there's 3 valves in the back that, wow, those are a pain to get off. You know, wrench them off. I did take off the muffler on the other side as well. So I'm gonna have to work on this crane now. I'm gonna have to do it in pieces probably. You know, just bolts all over. So just because it's probably very heavy, I'm gonna have to do it in pieces. So, alrighty, so we got the spare tire crane off, the intake, the exhaust bracket. That was probably the worst part, as well as just the exhaust itself. Just because either I'm gonna do a couple smokestacks, so I'll have to figure out that later. That's kind of definitely more end game than anything, but a lot more work to do before then. Or some people just route it all the way out the back, so we may or may not do that as well. It just kind of depends, I guess, what routes I can do. So next step is gonna be gutting the cab, so just pretty much pulling everything out that's on the floor. You know, battery box, seats, all that fun stuff. So we can just see what the floor looks like and, you know, what repairs we need to do there. And then after that, we'll take off the roof and cut off the back. So we got the driver's seat removed. Now I'm gonna work on getting the battery box done on this passenger seat. So there's a couple 12-volt batteries underneath there. So we'll take those out and kind of strip everything out of there, and then hopefully get this whole box out. cab pretty much cleared out. Roof and part of the back panel's off. Got this part cleaned out as far as objects. So next part is to cut off this front part of the bed. I'll probably just cut it right before this post and then weld in this back here. Just that way I still have some function of those troop seats. And it should give me plenty of room for a second row, I think. I am currently looking for another one of these cross members because that's where the rear of the cab kind of mounts. So ideally that's something that I would just kind of put in to the cab over here, or kind of mount over in the rear, or I can just take this one off and move it back, but that might be a little bit too big of a span. And then I'd also have to figure out this transfer case linkage, which I think would be kind of annoying. So we'll figure something out, but have a couple leads. Anywho, I think I'm going to cut this rear of the cab kind of through here. Just that's where it's about level, because these cabs actually are trapezoid. So we'll just go straight back to wherever I mount this rear aspect. So that's what's going to be coming up in the next video. Thanks for watching.